Well, hello again. Today we have a very short lecture in which we are just going to go over how to use this website. Now that may sound a little silly. After all, you are using the website right now, and if you didn't know how to do it, how would you be here? Well, there is actually a reason. There are a lot of learning management systems out there, Moodle, Canvas, Blackboard, and a whole lot of others. And you may be used to using one of those. In case you're new to Brightspace, I wanted to make sure that you knew how to get around the website, and especially that you knew how to do things like quizzes and forums and tests. So I just want to take a few minutes today to run through all of that. Okay, now we can start off with the course syllabus. A syllabus is a document that lists all the nuts and bolts you need to know for a course. It tells you when the classes are and what the readings are, what you'll be doing on different days and how the grading works, all that kind of stuff. Every course has one, including this course. Now, in a course like this, you can also find all that in Brightspace on the website. We have every single day spelled out on the website as you go from place to place. But the syllabus is a nice compact place that holds all of it, and it's nice to have. And indeed, it's always a good idea to start any course by looking through the syllabus, and it's also a good idea to print out a copy of the syllabus that you can keep in a safe place and refer to as you go along. You know, if you've got a notebook where you take notes for this course, staple a copy of the syllabus into the front of it, and that way you'll always know where you are. Okay, now in this course, here's how you get to the syllabus. Now, you start out by going here to the course home. You've been there before, right? This is the sort of home for the course, the home page for the course. Once you do that, look at these boxes over here in the visual contents and go to this box here, the one called Getting Started. Now, when you click on that, you're going to come to the Getting Started page. And then right down here at the bottom is a link for the course syllabus. Now, when you click on that, it opens up. And then you can click on this document here, just on this link. And that will take you to the syllabus itself. It'll let you look at the course syllabus, and if you want, you can either download it or print it directly from there. How do you do that? Well, anytime you want to download or print something in Brightspace, you just go down to the bottom of the page, right here, and click on one of these buttons. And that will let you print it out or download it. Okay. So that is the syllabus. That's the first thing. Now, another thing you need, of course, is to see lectures like this one. Again, I feel a little bit silly about this because I realize you are already looking at one of these lectures, so you probably have figured that out. But still, let's go over it just so we can say we did. Now, again, for every section of the course, there's a little box like this one in the visual contents. When you click on it, it takes you to that section of the course. If you then scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see a link like this one. And when you click on it, it will open up. And there will be links to any lectures for that section. Click on the lecture, and it'll take you to a page like this one, where you can see all the parts of the lecture in little boxes. Now, one technical thing, when you're building a site in Brightspace, you have some choices about how you organize the material. There are modules, there are topics, there are files, and a bunch of other things that Neanderthals like me don't always understand. The upshot, though, is that sometimes when you click on one of these links, you won't go straight to the lecture or film. Instead, you'll go to another page with yet another link for that lecture or film. If that happens, don't worry. It just means that this is a module instead of a topic, and that you need to click one more time. Just go to the title of the lecture in that box, click on it, and you'll be in the right place. When in doubt, click on it. Okay, now, some people like to watch the whole lecture at once, but a lot of people like to break them up. That's one of the convenient things about a course with online lectures, is that you can do them in little segments as you have time. Now, for that reason, I've broken most of the lectures, not this one because it's so short, but I've broken most of the lectures up into several sections, each one of which is between 5 and 15 minutes. You put them all together and they make up the length of a regular class. But you just start with the one at the top of the page and work your way down to the bottom. By the end of the page, you'll have seen the whole lecture. Now, sometimes we'll have a film instead of a lecture, and those work a little bit differently. All of the films for this course are in the same place, right? So if we go back to the table of contents, go to this section right here that says films. If you click on this, you will come to a list of films, and each one of them lists the date of the film and the title. You click on the one you want, click again on the title, and you will come to a page with a film. Now, when you click on that, it will play. I should mention that a few of the films are broken into 2 parts just because they're very long. And if that's the case, just manage them like you do the lectures. Start at the top and work your way down. Okay, about the films. Anthropologists love to show films because they give us a chance to show you a culture in motion rather than just photos or descriptions of something. A really good ethnographic film can give you more information about the culture more quickly than just about anything else. Really good ethnographic films, though, are hard to come by. For one thing, they're not commercially profitable. Be honest, watch the films in this and ask yourself, would you really pay $12 at the theater to see any of these? No, you probably wouldn't. That's one reason. But the other reason is because they require a kind of access to another culture that's extremely hard to get. In a lot of cases, moreover, the small-scale cultures where they are most effective have been kind of gobbled up by the spread of modern transnational societies. Contemporary filmmaking technology could probably do a terrific job showing you an isolated hunter-gatherer tribe. Unfortunately, the isolated hunter-gatherer tribes have almost all been wiped out. For that reason, some of the films that we're going to see in this course are kind of old. And they often don't have great production values. They'll look grainy. The sound will be muddy. They'll be terrible. There'll be a narrator who sounds like he's, a character in a zombie film or something like that. Don't let that put you off. Every one of the ethnographic films we're going to see in this course is a really fascinating portrayal of a particular culture. If you're used to action movies, it may be hard to stay with them at first, but the longer you look, the more you're going to see, and I guarantee you that you will learn a lot. Okay, so that's the films. Now, in addition to the lectures and the films, courses like this one have some assessments, quizzes, forums, and tests. Now, just like the films, you can find all of those in the same place. Just go to the main contents page again, this table of contents, and this time click on this box, the one that says quizzes, forums, and tests. Now that's going to take you here, and if you scroll down, you will find options for quizzes, forums, and tests. And when you click on any of these, it's going to open up, and then you can click on the one that you want to take. Now, quizzes and tests are pretty straightforward, and I'm sure you've done them before. I don't want to go into too much detail about them. But one thing I would like to mention about them is the timing. All of the quizzes and tests have 2 kinds of time limits. One is what we could think of as the limit of the test itself. Midterms, for example, are usually 1 hour long, while quizzes are either 5 or 10 minutes long. That means that once you start them, that's the amount of time you have. And once you start, the clock is ticking. You can't take a break and come back to them later. You open it, you got your 10 minutes or your 5 minutes or your 60 minutes, and once you stop, you've stopped, right? You can't stop, go out, come back, and start again. That means that before you start, you should make sure that you're all set for them. Use the bathroom first. Have a glass of water or a cup of coffee handy for you right there. Make sure you've already reviewed the material. Most importantly, make sure you're in a place where you will be able to stay for the whole time and where your internet is not going to be interrupted. Right? Don't do these when your roommate's having a party. Don't do them in a coffee shop where you might be asked to lose your table after a while. if you're not doing them alone in your dorm room, probably the best place to do them is a library, especially a campus library. Libraries are really great places for online tests. Not only are they quiet, but the internet connections there tend to be very reliable, and the building tends to be open pretty late. Okay, so that's one kind of time limit, the time limit on the test itself. The other kind of time limit is what we can call the window, the period when the test is available online. In this course, we always build in a range of time when you can take the test. That is, suppose you're going to take a 1-hour test. We don't say it starts at noon and ends at 1 o'clock, because people have different schedules. Some people might have time to take it at noon, some people might not have time to take it till the evening. So we give you a window during which you can take it, and it's usually 2 days long. So quizzes, for example, when we have quizzes scheduled for Friday, which means it opens up at 12:01 a.m. in the morning on Friday, and it closes at 11:59 p.m. at night on Saturday. So you've got from essentially midnight on Monday morning all the way till midnight on Saturday night, and you can take the quiz at any time in that range. Now, that window gives you a lot of time to take the test. You can schedule it for when it works for you, and that's helpful. It's important to remember, though, that that range is pretty rigid. Once it's over, the test is going to close, and it won't be opened up after that. So, for example, suppose that a midterm ends at 11:59 at night. The window opens at 11:59 at night. And suppose the time limit for that midterm is 1 hour. Now, if you start that test at 10:59, you'll have 1 hour to do it, and it'll close at 11:59, and that's when the window closes, right? So, all good. But if you start it at 11:45, it's still going to close at 11:59, even though you've only been working on it for 14 minutes. When it reaches the end of the window, it's going to close. So whatever you do, make sure you start no later than 10:59, so you have the whole time for the test. But actually, realistically, you will want to start earlier than that. When you are doing something online, any number of things can go wrong. Your internet can stop working. Your computer can run out of battery. Your operating system can crash. Your roommate can plug in 3 blenders at once and blow the fuses in your apartment. You might even have a bad reaction to the dining hall food and then have to spend a lot more time in the bathroom than you were expecting to. This kind of thing happens all the time. And when it does, it can take a little while to sort out. Now, for that reason, you never want to start an online assignment just before it's due. Always make sure that you have at the very least 3 or 4 hours before the deadline when you start a quiz or an exam, right? If a quiz or an exam window ends at midnight, make sure you get started on that no later than 8 in the evening or 9 in the evening. Because that way, even if everything goes wrong, your computer blows up, the house burns down, whatever it is, you still have time to walk over to the library and use one of their computers to get it done. Okay. Now, in addition to quizzes and tests, we have things in this class that are called discussion forums. And if you click on this link, you will see a list of them. Now, when you click on one, it will take you to a page like this. And in that page, there will be instructions on how to do it. I want to stress that every one of the forums has specific instructions on what you should do, and you need to read that carefully and follow those instructions when you're doing the forum. Now, because of that, the forums are pretty self-explanatory, but there are just a couple of things that I should emphasize. One is that in this class, forums almost always open up on a Monday morning, and they close on a Friday night. The window is the entire week. They also involve 2 parts. Now, the first part will be something that you write yourself, a long paragraph in response to a question. You're going to post that as your initial post for the discussion forum. That's the first part. The second part is a response to another student. In that sense, you're going to read what somebody else has posted for their first post, and you're going to read it and comment on it. And there is going to be something in the instructions for the forum that tells you what sort of comment we're looking for. Okay, usually it involves contrasting it with something you've observed in your own life. Just about every forum involves these two separate parts. Okay, now, the first part, your initial post, needs to be posted by Wednesday night, no later than Wednesday night, because that way other students can read it and they can respond to it. Just like you're going to respond to them, they need to respond to you. Now, those responses, the second part of the forum, need to be posted by Friday night. The grade you get for the forum is based on both of those, by the way. If you only submit the initial post, or if you only submit the reply, you're only going to get half credit for the assignment. So be sure to do the first part sometime in the first part of the week, and the second part in the second part of the week. Make sure you do both parts every week. Now, you should also notice that the forum assignments include word counts. It'll say, write at least 200 words, or at least 250 words, or something like that. Take those seriously. If the prompt asks you for a 200-word paragraph, make sure there's a little word counter that you write a 200-word paragraph or longer. Don't just write a short sentence, because if you do that, you're not going to do well on the assignment. Now, don't just fill it up. Don't just put in a lot of individual words like you're doing an Amazon review so you reach the limits. We're looking for content here, but make sure that you pay attention to the word counts because they really do matter. All right, one last thing about the forums. These are not research papers. They don't need sources, they don't need footnotes, and I am not grading them for grammar or style, right? If you put some effort into them, have some comments, some content in them, you're going to do fine. Don't worry about, whether or not it's formatted properly or anything like that. Okay, so that's how to use the website. It's really pretty straightforward, and even if you've never done this before, you are going to get the hang of it very, very quickly. Now, if you do run into trouble, though, I should mention that there are some ways to get help. Now, in the bottom right-hand corner of the course homepage, there is some information about how to get help. You can call people during the office hours for support. You can also put in a support request through a web form right here. And you can look up questions in a directory they call a knowledge base. It's sort of like a database of questions that people have asked before. And a lot of times, if you put your question in, you'll find someone who's answered it before, and the answer's already there. Now, of course, you can also email me, and I am always very happy to hear from you. If it's a technical issue, you are probably better off calling the support people because they're more likely to have the answer. Anthropologists, as you may know, are most comfortable with technology at about the level of stone tools. When computers are involved, most of us are pretty far out of our depth. I'm happy to give it a try, though. More importantly, though, if it's a problem with a material, or if you're running into some sort of personal situation that's making it more difficult to get things done, I can be more helpful and maybe help you find some solutions. So please do get in touch with me if you need any help at all. That's what I'm here for. All right, so that's it. If there are any questions you have about the website that didn't get answered in this little video, please email me or come to my office hours to ask. But apart from that, I hope this was helpful, and I will see you next time.